Hey everyone! So today I'll be talking about the song I wrote for my wedding day. If you haven't listened to it yet, no worries, you can listen to it right after this. But today I want to talk about why I wrote the song and what the song is really about. So for the first question, why did I even bother to write a wedding song? Let's just say about 3-4 years ago, during the first year anniversary of my back then girlfriend, now wife, and I decided to come up with a list of coupons to give to her, and one of the coupons mentioned, I would write a song for you. And I had to keep to that commitment, even though I've never written a song before. So back then I was still in army, and I actually brought this pen and paper out into outfield and actually wrote down some lyrics while I was in the middle of the jungle. And even though the lyrics changed ever since, but the whole idea and intention of the song stayed the same. So what is this song all about? In summary, you can say that this song is about my pursuit of love, and also our love story together, through our ups and downs, through our joys, and also the fights that we have. We learn to love each other more, we learn to anticipate our wedding day. But more than that, I think through the pursuit of our actual relationship, I started to read a lot more about love and dating and marriage. And something that stuck out to me was this idea that somehow through my love for my partner, and even when we see people in love with each other in marriage, it's meant to be the biggest signpost that was designed by God to point towards His love for humanity. And also crazy to me, I never saw it that way before, as though the imagery of the bride marching down the aisle to meet the groom is parallel to Jesus coming to meet His bride, the church. As I continue to look at the different parallels of what it meant to sacrifice for one another and put each other first, the beauty of marriage stuck out to me. And somehow the more I loved my wife, the more I fell in love with God's love for me as well. So yeah, that's the gist of what the song's about. Let's dive deeper into the meaning of the song. So verse 1 is all about what the design of love is. So believe it or not, the first marriage was actually designed by God through Adam and Eve in the garden, and it was a very special and unique partnership. In between this partnership exists a force, a very powerful force. It's described in Songs of Solomon. It's blazing like a fire, it's unquenchable even by running water, it's as strong as death, and that's the power of the love that God designed. And this leads on to the chorus, which talks about the expression and excitement of the so-called wedding day, the day when people can be united to celebrate that immense force for good, where it's just so beautiful, so immersive. So this is actually pretty similar to my own dating experience with Maddie as well, where even back in army, I would video call her knowing that I have to wake up at 5 AM the next day. We would spend our precious nights out together, and even within uni, even though I had so much work to do, would make time to just chat with her, even go out with her, just because I enjoyed the presence so much. And a wedding day doesn't just symbolize the day where we commit our lives to each other and say our vows to each other, but it's also the day where we no longer have to say goodbye to each other. There's no need for video calls, no need for nights out, no need for special dates, because our whole lives are intertwined now. We can be one, and that was something that we were so excited about, and that's something that we really anticipated throughout our dating process. Love isn't just all a bed of roses, right? So that's when verse 2 comes in, where it's not that good. It's not picture perfect, it's actually pretty broken. And yeah, like a bed of roses, it may look beautiful and fluffy on the outside. It's actually full of thorns when we dig a bit deeper. Well, generally, most of us have decent intentions, but there are always times when we say things that we regret saying, do things that we regret doing. We know something is right, but we just find so much more joy in doing it wrong, in being angry, in swearing and cursing, and falling back into old habits. In those times, it's so hard to love, it's so hard to forgive each other. And even though there's this expectation of not letting the sun go down while we're still angry, but in reality that can be so hard to practice when we feel that the other person just doesn't get us no matter what we say and do. So in light of this context, it sheds a new perspective, the chorus as well, where the wedding day isn't just a feel-good celebration to celebrate the union of the husband and wife, but it's also a commitment to weather through all things, to say that, okay, even if we don't agree with each other all the time, even though we may still fight and quarrel, and we may still fail expectations time and time again, this is my promise to you, to stay with you, to be with you, to put my life in your hands. even when things don't go well. And I guess this differentiates liking someone and loving someone or being married to someone. Like, it's one thing to like a person because they please you, they benefit you, you're attracted by them. But it's another to be committed to someone, to choose to stay by them and still revolve your life around them, even when it doesn't make sense. I think that's the beauty of marriage. And here comes the bridge. So for most of us, when we search for meaning, we often find ourselves being attracted to what we find beautiful, what we find immersive, what we find awesome. But in many of these cases, even when we have a taste of it, even when we fulfill ourselves with it, we are often left craving for so much more, and we're never completely satisfied. So many would agree that love is somewhat comparable to that. But even then, even in friendships, even in family, even in marriages, it is never completely satisfying. There's always a little bit of us that feels, is there more to life than this, right? So I believe that God has set eternity in the human heart. As C.S. Lewis famously quoted, if we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we are made for another world. So the beauty and joy we experience today, it's not to say that it's all pointless and not worth pursuing, but it's meant to be a little foretaste, a shadow, a glimpse of what life can and will be. So the same can be said for weddings, where the love shared between a couple is but a glimmer of the intended intimacy then to be shared between mankind and its creator. So that leads us to the final chorus, which speaks of the ultimate wedding day when we, as human beings, the Church of Jesus, are received by the groom, Jesus himself. So from the start, it was part of the plan of God to dwell with mankind, and on that day, this final union will be accomplished. Just at this time, there will be no more heartbreak, no more tears, no more sorrow, no more natural disasters, no more evil, and no more sin to tear us apart. So nothing will keep us from God's love. So I bet you didn't expect so much meaning and context behind the lyrics I wrote. Don't worry, because you can always listen to the song again or right now. Yeah, until then, I'll see you next time.